Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. My gorgeous listener, welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored and grateful, and I hope I will serve you the best way today. So I will continue answering questions of a gorgeous listener. Her name is Laura. We give you a nickname whenever you ask me a question. It is so interesting that, I actually want to do a different format where I can talk to you while I am doing the episode, like some of these episodes that I'm answering your questions. But I am thinking how it would really work if the person that I'm talking to would be, comfortable or not. If you have any suggestions for me of how I can do this in a more one-to-one way where I can go to the deep core of things with you so it really makes a difference for you and the listener would be able to understand where I am going with things, and you can apply that to your own life. And you feel so much empathy when you hear someone talking about something, because you find, even if the story is very different, you find your own answers when you listen to it. So it would be more interactive, but I don't know if this is the topic, family stuff is the topic, especially about parents and siblings, is the topic that no one talks about. And that's why I'm doing this podcast. I will continue talking about this, and I hope to really create a change in your life. And this is only the beginning for me. This is only the beginning of how I will serve others about this. And it's such a taboo thing that people feel so guilty and even shame when creating the clarity about their families, and they always feel the excuse, always feel the need to say, they are doing their best and blah, 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 all the BS stuff that is not necessary in this topic. We're not here to point fingers. I'm not even interested in anything like that. I'm not even interested in the person when I think about this stuff, even if it's my own life or someone else's. I am not focused on the human. I am focused on the dynamic, the behavior, the energy, what's really happening. And so that you can create the clarity, and so you can create change with certainty. And thank you for your patience, by the way. I did not upload an episode last week. If you're following me on Instagram, you would know it. Maybe if you've seen my posts, I was attending a Tony Robbins event, Unleash the Power Within. Maybe you know it already. It's a 4-day, very intensive, 14 hours a day, really beautiful, amazing, life-changing event. So I was doing an online event from Thursday to Sunday. So I had only had 3 days of my week to get my things done. So I could not do, like, just to feel compassion to myself, I did not upload an episode. And so I am starting this week with the new episodes. For the new upcoming episodes, I will continue answering Laura's questions because she's on the right track, and how she talks about what's happening in her family, she's on the right track. So Laura, you are on your path, like you are on the path. So please never question if you are doing something or not. Just like the fact that you're asking someone for their suggestions on a podcast means that you are going to create your change. And it doesn't have to look anything similar to what I'm saying. You will create that change. So you are on the path. And I'm so proud of you. I don't know what else to say. I don't like the word pride, but I am so proud of you. You are on the path. I see you and I hear you. And there are so many things I want to share, and I feel so much more passion now to talk about this stuff because I had a very intense download during the weekend with the event Unleash the Power Within. I'm doing it for the third time in a row. I do this as a birthday gift to myself every year, and every time it's like a huge layer. It's really crazy. It's an experience, and I'll talk more about it and all the things I have learned and implementing in my life and have the intention to implement or have been implementing, but Tony just puts it into words in a perfect way, in a beautiful way. So I'll be doing different episodes on everything that I'm learning and implementing in my life that really make a difference. The one thing I want to share with you, Laura. So if you've listened to the previous podcasts, episodes, I think two episodes before this, I was answering Laura's questions, and I'm going to read some of what she wrote, keeping her privacy. So whenever you share something with me, I don't have to mention, the city you live in or something specific. It doesn't have to be that way, just because no one's going to know from your family anyways, but just so that you feel relaxed, secure, good in your nervous system, so you don't feel any threat, So just wanted to say that. And the story stuff, every story is so similar, so don't worry about that. All the other stuff, it's always very, very, very similar stuff. The one thing, Laura, that I realized deeply, intensely, and I was so passionate in that moment that I started recording videos in Turkish, though. So I was posting that on another page for my Turkish podcast. But it stayed with me. It's something that I have started implementing in my life, but it's one thing to start implementing, but it's another thing to put it into words, realizing why I was doing something, or why I stopped doing something, or why I stopped enabling something, and how much of a difference it makes. We did crazy, really intense practices with Tony during he really gets you really tired to during the first day, second day, and to get you ready for the third day. And he does a process called Dickens process. And just before he did this, it was a 6-hour process, standing up. He gets you moving physically, jumping up and down the whole 4 days, which is fantastic. But it's not just turning on the music and dancing. It's so much more different than that, because he really pushes you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. He really pushes you so much. And I'll talk about all of this so that you do not have any resistance to change anymore. And the Dickens process is something really magnificent. I might do another episode on that. But my intention for the let's say like a 1 year plan for myself is to create different workshops to do these things with you, because when we are in a group doing this stuff, it really like in that moment you find your path, like whatever it is that you need to do in that moment. And it's not like a one-time thing, so it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, but you can create solutions on how to what it might look like for you to create healthy boundaries in that moment, or something that you're going through with a family member, like what it is actually telling you to do. And it's always self-compassion, by the way, always. But what you can do in that moment, how you can stop that abuse, enabling that, like accommodating that abuse, how much it stopped you until that moment, like how it had been going on until now anyways, like all the things. So that's my intention, but I'll be telling you all the things that I'm realizing, because sometimes we don't have to go through that journey to make really bold decisions and to create that certainty. So, okay, long story short, what I want to talk about, Laura, is first, hope and being in the feeling of hope. I thought hope was a good thing until 2 years ago. I completely changed my life and stopped being in the hope mode emotion. Hope is such like I don't believe in hope anymore. Like I believe in faith. I love having hope on the side, but hope itself means, like, if your general attitude for your future is only hope, that is not enough for you to create the results that will give you fulfillment. Hope itself is, I don't want to say anything judgmental, because like I was in hope mode all my life. And that meant that I was waiting for my life to happen. We were doing an exercise and we were looking at our physiology, like how we were breathing, how we were using our body, like how we were behaving, what kind of actions would I be taking if I was in that hope mode. And then something clicked and I was like, I was really like aggravated. Like I was so passionate to talk about this. Because hope is not enough. Hope by itself is just, if like, I'm talking about this just for you to realize, my gorgeous listener, if you have anything in any area of your life, especially relationship dynamics or anything in your self-actualization process, that you are not seeing any progress or like real results or real progress, like progress meaning you are really in the path. Like it doesn't have to be, you like it doesn't have to mean that you're making millions. You know what I mean? It's something that you're already like, things are changing. The way you interact with people, the people that you meet in your life, the solutions that comes your way, the progress, the steps you are taking and the progress you are seeing. If you are not in that process yet, at that stage yet, hope itself means that it's just something that you're just waiting for your life to happen. I was in hope mode for so long, and I didn't realize this, by the way. Like I thought hope was a good thing, but it was just for me to, it was creating a space for me to self-sabotage myself, because, I was feeling, air quotes, like optimistic thoughts and feelings about my future. But I was not in the process of creating that change. And I wasn't even aware of how the narcissistic abuse and narcissistic behavior was truly affecting me in that moment. Although I might not be having the same conversations with the same people, it doesn't matter, but I was playing small. So if you are in a stage that you know that you're not using your full potential, you are not in that process, you are not in that journey, you are not seeing any progress where you are taking those bold actions and you're feeling good about it, you're feeling scared, you're feeling tired, you're feeling exhausted maybe, but you are like so centered, like your life feels different. Then you can have hope on the side. Then it's fine. But if the positive emotion, one of the big positive emotions for your life is hope, but you haven't even begun seeing that journey yet of you being that person. You don't have to see the results yet, but if you are becoming the person that would be living, that the person that you would be if you were getting those fulfilling results eventually. But if you're becoming that person already, then hope is fine. I'm sure you know what I mean, but what is more important than hope is certainty. Is like you are certain you're going to get that result. You are certain you're going to shift your life massively. You are certain that you are on the right track. You are certain that the thing that you're going after, you will get massive results with it. You know you're building something, growing something. You know that you're going to get that thing. And it doesn't have to be just work. It can be relationships. Romantic relationships, friendships, your community, the kind of life you want to live, the kind of body you want to have, the health you want to have, just the contribution you're going to give, like whatever it is, you are certain now. You have the certainty and you are taking actions from that certainty, not from the hope. Because hope, I don't want to use a negative word, but it's kind of like hope is sort of like just by itself. You know what I mean now. If you're already in your self-actualization process, like in your journey, you're not only going to feel hope, you're going to feel certainty with it. So feeling hope is fine. Of course, it's great. It's amazing. But just hope itself, I am sure you understand now what I mean, is like, how can I say it with anything negative? Hope is just playing small, or like shrinking, saying, oh, I hope this thing happens one day. But certainty is like, I am going to get that thing. I'm going to create that thing. I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to have those results. I'm going to create my incredible life. Like I'm going after it, like no matter what. Maybe the path will take me to something else, but I am in my path fully now. I'm showing up for my life fully now. I'm not negotiating. My shoulds are my musts now. Not my it's not shoulds, because shoulds you can negotiate and give up and not do and not continue with. But musts are non-negotiable. Your shoulds become your musts and you are applying all of that every day. So certainty is a very different game. Certainty is a very different emotion. Certainty was you already had it when you were born. You had certainty when you were born. Why am I talking about this? You did not originally have hope emotion. And you might not even have hope emotion, by the way, because in narcissistic tendency in family, even being in the hope feeling, hope emotion is something that you have to fight for because they want to take that away from you. The narcissist or the narcissistic person or the person who has narcissistic tendency in your family, and this applies, by the way, to your romantic relationships, to your friendships and everything, but I'm focusing on the family that you come from always. Listen to the other episodes why. The narcissistic person does not like it when you have hope for your future. for the things that you can create. They hate it when you have certainty that you're going to create something big. They hate that. Of course, they don't allow you to have that. Of course, they create that wound when you were a baby, a child, a toddler, like when you are really, really young. When you are really young, they steal that certainty from you, creating doubt. So you settle for the hope. I'm telling this, you might feel anger towards them, like it's a good thing. You can use it for your benefit, and it's something that they can't steal away from you and it's gone. What I mean is that they steal that energy from you, that resource from you. They create that doubt so that things are not clear for you. You have confusion. You don't even know why. You're fighting in your brain, like you're arguing with them in your brain or with the thoughts or with yourself or whatever. But that certainty is taken from you around narcissistic family members. And my gorgeous listener, the thing that will get you the results, that will give you fulfillment, can only happen when you take action and live your life with certainty. It doesn't matter how good you are at something. It doesn't matter how much you work on something. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how much you practice, how much money you have or other resources or who you know or how you might have the best strategy. It doesn't matter. If you don't have the certainty, it will absolutely affect your results. When you have the certainty, that infinite resource inside you, no matter what happens, you are going to get the results that will give you fulfillment. Like maybe you're going to go after for something like crazy with certainty, but maybe it will turn into something else. Like I never thought that I would have podcasts. But I was just in my journey. So things start coming up. You start seeing your passions. You start seeing like why you actually had those challenges in your life or why you were always drawn to something. Things start like coming into place, but you don't need to know exactly what you want to create in every detail, but you need to have the certainty that you're going to create your incredible life. You're going after abundance, love, certainty, security, contribution, whatever you value in your life, you have that certainty. And so Tony Robbins was giving the example of Michael Jordan, like when you play basketball, it doesn't matter like how much he says that. And I can, how can I show you this? I need to make videos, but how you even stand in your body shows how much you are certain of yourself. It's not just about self-confidence or anything like that. It's like you knowing that you're going to create that result. When you have that certainty, you will be resourceful. You will go after the things that you want. And just when he's about to, what is it called when in basketball, like dunk the ball? Like when you watch him jump and dunk, I don't know what it's called, but whatever. Like you can tell as the audience if he's going to get the ball in the thing or not. You know with his body that if he doesn't have certainty that he's gonna get it, whatever, basked. I have no idea what it's called, by the way, in English. I'm sorry. I am sure I know, but I don't remember. But you know with his body if he will do it or not, because you can tell if he believes, if he has the certainty that he will or not. So your talent, the strategy, blah, 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 is not even that important. Your certainty, if you have a goal, you will find away. You will not give up because you have the certainty. Hope makes you lose so much time, makes you waste so much resource, like your time, your energy, your money, your life. You just wait for things to be different. And hope is such a thing that if you have a lot of hope, you might be taking massive action, but massive action without uncertainty is nothing. Okay, so why am I talking about all of this? So, Laura, maybe I won't even read anything from your questions today. I just want to read a small part here. Let me see. I want to talk more about the practicality of what you can do today. I know you are on that path to see like what you can do, and I want to support you a little bit today about this. And you will get your own answers, I'm sure. So Laura says, how to get independence from your family when you depend on them, working for them, and you're too unwell and vulnerable to go it alone. This makes, of course, so much sense, Laura. Like, it makes so much sense. If you said something like this to me, you don't even need to explain any further. The thing is that being around narcissistic siblings, narcissistic mom or dad creates such a huge difference in your beliefs about yourself or how you feel in your body. How much, like, it creates so much confusion for you, even if you have that resource of certainty inside of you. If you are in a stage where you are letting them affect your life, it just creates a lot of challenging emotions for you and a lot of unclarity, confusion, and it influences you more than if it was not affecting your life, if it was not, let's say, like if you were not accommodating that anymore, if you have created healthy boundaries. So the thing I want to say, and this was something that I clearly realized that I wanted to share with my listeners in this UPW, like over the weekend, that I would suggest to anyone who has a narcissistic tendency in family is, I see this applied by so many amazing, successful people, but they never mention it this way. But when you look at their stories, and they might be talking about 20 years ago or 5 years ago, if there is any narcissistic tendency in family, this is actually what they do automatically. But like I said, with the guilt and the shame and how like this thing is such a taboo, and just, you know, the idea, the belief that, the stupid BS belief that just because you're a mom or dad, you're supposed to be put on a pedestal. Like, it doesn't, like, just as my business, which I work so much for, which I care so much for, of course, I can't really, like, this is not something that I can compare, but it's just because, like, my business can complain about me, and it doesn't make my business a bad business or a good business, or I should not feel shame, or just because I feel the shame, I shouldn't ignore the signs coming from my business. It's not the same thing. But what I want to say is, just because you give effort into something, or just because you give some kind of labor in something, it doesn't take away all the BS that you do to that person. It's like the same in romantic relationships. It doesn't matter how much you love the person, but if you're abusing them, the abuse is abuse. Like, it doesn't change. Your love does not take anything from that abuse. That abuse is still abuse. So your response can't be when the person complains or creates clarity for themselves, like you're abusing me. Your response can't be, but I love you so much. Like it's just doesn't make sense. It's stupid. It's like a very unloving thing. So just because you are a mom or dad does not make you like a god. Like, it doesn't make you anything. You have sex and then you give birth. Like it's that simple. You might be giving a lot of labor to that person, but if you're abusing them at the same time and stealing their life force to feed yourself, which is what narcissism is. Narcissistic tendency person steals away their baby's energy, steal away their toddler's energy, steals away their small child's energy. This is that. So like, what the F? Narcissism is so high in the world now, like, and creating clarity is the way. Like, creating clarity is the only solution. But different people say this different ways. But creating clarity is the thing. And what people usually do is that they leave the house, they leave that town, they leave home. They don't see their parents that much when they're building something new. Like there is a time when you go back to their stories, it's always the same thing for an amount of time. They do not have a lot of contact with those family members. This is the only way that they can get out of that funk that can get, it's not even a funk, by the way. It's like, it's not the right word. Getting out of that muddy waters, like getting that dirt, that thing that doesn't even belong to you. It takes a lot of repetition. It takes effort. It takes courage. It takes extra effort because it's not the comfortable thing. Staying in that painful place is easier, but it's so painful. Getting out of that thing is very scary. Creates a lot of confusion. You feel so alone. There are not many people that you can ask for compassion around this. Other people certainly create confusion or, something that will make you self-sabotage again. So never ask for anybody's like opinion on this. They deflect, what is the word? They deflect, like what's the word? Projecting. Yeah. They project to you what their own fears are or the things that they are not able to do, basically. The things that they're so scared to do, that they're not applying for themselves, or they have no idea what narcissism is. So what I want to say, Laura, is like I could just say these few words to you and just call it the episode. But I'm talking about all of this just to show that, like, the reason why I'm saying this and the fact that I know it's not an easy thing. And I know that you need to create practical solutions and you will create your practical solutions. But let me say it first. So I believe, this was my download, that if you have any narcissistic tendency in your family from your parents and you were someone who, grew up being close to your family, meaning that you were around them physically a lot, like, so you were abused a lot, so you were exposed to them a lot, like their words, their facial expressions, their tone of voice, their comments about whatever, not even about you, like other things, which they do on purpose. So all of that, if you were exposed to them a lot, I highly suggest, every story is different, every situation is different, there can be always different solutions. But what I believe in my heart to anyone who would ask me is, don't spend, just like get away from that family dynamic for at least 2 years. Just stay away from it. You need to, because it's not a boundary that you can create, because narcissistic tendency always gets you in places that you would never think would get you. like, it is so surprising and shocking every time that it's not something that you can calculate, especially at the beginning of the journey, because you, like you said, like you're so exposed to it so much. So you feel so much weaker than your true self. Like, this is all natural results of what has been happening. And this is what they get off of. Like, narcissistic tendency person's subconscious gets off of this. They love this. They get satisfied with this. They feed from this. No matter what they're telling you, no matter how much like they cry and tell you they're sad, whatever, like they can never feel the sadness. They can never hurt as much as you do in that situation. Never. Like never. That's why I always say never get in an argument with a narcissist. Like never. They love that because their subconscious belief is that life is about struggle, fighting, competition, who gets what. This is their truth for their family members as well. Like, this is their truth for family, for life. Life is about struggle for them. Life is about fighting. Life is about competition. Life is about, if you get something great, be it an emotion or something physical, then I am below you. Like, it's all about comparison or scarcity. The belief that things are scarce, scarcity. I'm so sorry. I'm not using my words right today, but scarcity thing is how they see the world. That's why they feel competitive with their daughters and sons, with their children. They feel as if you have something great, then, or if you feel good about yourself, they're going to feel bad about themselves because it's always competition. It's never like true love. So, what I want to say is that the best way to really start creating the path is to really get away from it. Because like there are so many reasons to why I'm saying this, and I can do a separate episode just on this thing. And I should, obviously, because this is very important. But the more you enable, the more you are exposed to their BS, no matter how frustrated you might feel inside of you, the more you enable them to affect and influence you in moments of decisions or just living your day, like daily life, as you are taking actions and living your life, the more you enable them or the more you expose yourself to the BS, the more resentment you feel, the more anger you feel, and the weaker you feel, and the more the doubt they create or the confusion they create becomes more, you get more affected with it. And then you get lost in the story of whatever is happening in that moment. The emotions are so high. You are so not in your center. Your nervous system is so dysregulated, and you have had this experience for so long that it's not possible for someone to first be themselves, like be centered and use the parts of their brains when they can, like, find the courage and the certainty and act in a way that will give them fulfillment. You might take actions around them, but the results you get is always affected. I have had this experience for so long, and I let it affect me so much, and I lost so much because of this. I don't want anyone else, like any other compassionate soul, empathic, compassionate, kind-hearted, loving soul, I don't want them to feel this way. Just like I don't want them to lose one day, lose $1, lose any time, any energy because of this. And while I say this, my gorgeous Laura, while I say this, I know that, like, besides this, I have to say, just as important. You need to feel safe. Like you need to be in a safe situation, money-wise, like financially. You need to be, I'm not saying like leave everything off and don't think about how you will survive in this world. I'm not saying that. You have to create your security and then create this healthy boundary. What I was saying before is that because narcissistic people do things that really shock you, and at the first months of you creating a change in your life, and this might differ for different people. It might be 2 months for some people, and it might be 5 years for some people, and it might be like the rest of your life for other people. Just having this, it doesn't have to be like for 2 years you have no contact with them or anything. I don't mean to say that, but what I mean is that you're living a completely different life. Like you are not in contact with them anymore. They don't know anything about what you're doing in your life, the kind of actions you're taking, the decisions you're making, how you're spending your day. They don't know anything about this. But what's really important, Laura, is your nervous system should be so regulated. You should be feeling so safe in your body, in your life, in your finances, your day-to-day life. You should create that and create that boundary. And it might look, you can create that solution in many different ways. And by the way, you don't have to give up on everything that your family would offer to you. You don't have to do this, by the way. Like you don't have to say, I'm going and I'm just going to start from scratch and I'm not going to take any money from it. It doesn't have to be this way. If you're working with them, you can create something. I don't know, maybe it can be a side job where you're saving money and they have zero idea. Or it might be like what I feel about this is that you should not work with them because work life is everything. It affects you so much, but you don't have to give up on everything that they would, that they would provide for you, because you have lost so much time and they've taken away so much from you that first you need to create that safety. And you can do this step by step. You can do this in a more, let's say, in a more harsh way, but they do not need to know. By the way, important thing is that when, let's say, you're creating this 2 year away from them, whatever, they shouldn't know that you're making this decision. They should never know. You should be the gray stone. You should never take attention from them. It should be something completely different. It shouldn't be that I'm getting away from you because you are narcissists and I'm going to create my own life. And to do that, I need to be centered and my nervous system needs to heal and be regulated. And I need to come back to my own true beliefs and I'm going to feed myself with amazing things every day. So I'm going to get away from you. Of course, they're not going to love this. So you have to do it in a very subtle way that they don't think that you're doing it because of them, but maybe you're doing it because of yourself. Even maybe playing their game, you're having a challenging time and you're taking another route or something like this. I don't know. But you have to do it in a way that they don't attack you, that they're not saying things that will dismantle you again, that they will create confusion about. The best way, Laura, and my gorgeous listener, if you have any situation like this, first thing is that you have to create safety for yourself. And I think it's necessary to play for them, play a game so that they don't realize that you're doing anything that will create that change for you. Because they don't like that. To end their manipulation, you have to be away from it.
But when you're doing it, you shouldn't do it in a way that will create any kind of insecurity for yourself. So I know you can create a way, like I know for sure, and you know your own situation. So it can be really anything. Because I can't talk to you one-on-one, like I can't ask you questions, but I wouldn't even give the answers to you. I would just ask you questions. So I would say, like, where is your income coming from? Are there anything else that you own? Would you be able to get that income still, but be away from that crowd for a while and make it seem something else, but you're doing it from away? You're still getting that income, but maybe you're doing something else on the side. Do you have any shares in the company? Is there anything you can take? Like, I know you will find your way, but I just wanted to give these examples. So, because it's not something that, like, the life you want to create is not something that you can create being around them. But it doesn't mean that you will, and it might, but it doesn't mean that you give away everything and just start from scratch in a vulnerable space. You can find another job that you like doing, you enjoy doing. Maybe it's a new beginning for you, but you might start that on the side and then go for it after a while. So I'm just, like, I don't know the whole situation, so I'm just giving you some examples. So like, this is like around narcissistic tendency, you are not seeing things clearly. This is why you need to be away from it, but you need to do it in a way that you feel totally secure about your health, your well-being. You need to be so compassionate with yourself, Laura, that you need to find a very compassionate solution for yourself. And you might feel guilt, and it's a part of the journey. It's okay. It shows that you're human, but never not make decisions because you feel guilty, because they never felt that towards you. And you would never want things to be this way if it was up to you. So always believe in your good heart. And I just wish you, first, like, well-being, a regulated nervous system, just for you to see a light, not at the end of the tunnel, but just a light for you to say, okay, I can start doing this. And even you doing that thing will start creating self-trust for yourself. You don't need to trust anyone else around you. You need to first trust yourself. And then people who you will trust will come your path, because it's going to become normal for you. So I'm going to end this episode right here. Thank you so much for listening, my gorgeous listener. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, please send it my way. My Instagram is in the show notes. It's Kevela, my goddess wear brand. I use it for my podcast as well. You can DM me if you have any comments, if you had any takeaways, if you want me to talk about anything specific, if you have any other questions. I was doing a 12 steps to get your incredible life. I don't remember the exact words, but I think I stopped doing that on step 8 or something, and I can write that blueprint from scratch again. Because, like I said, strategy itself is not that important, because you need to have the certainty, which is your resource to go for it no matter what results you see that day, no matter what obstacles are your way. You're like, I am going to do this thing. I don't care. I'll find a way. I'll find the right person to help me. I will find a way. I will go for it. And then you get it because you have the certainty. People see it. It's the energy that you do things with. I love you so much. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. And please follow, like subscribe to the podcast. It will help me a lot to reach more compassionate souls like you. And I'll see you next week. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Khewella. That is Khewella. Khewella. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.